Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL Gambling Locks, where we go over the entire slate. Larsen gives some of the wildest picks over here, and I eat the cheese. Chase is not here, but it's us three, and the show must go on. Jake, get us started.
All right, yeah. Tonight we have Jacksonville State and Liberty. Liberty maybe going to get off the mat after that loss to Kennesaw State. Jacksonville State's kind of been a weekday wagon. Been doing pretty well for me on the weekdays.
Go out.
Nothing here. Yeah, can Liberty bounce back?
Good for the boys.
I'm sure they will. Western Kentucky minus 24 against Kennesaw State. This is probably the biggest letdown spot of the weekday slate.
Yeah. I took Western Kentucky a little bit on Western Kentucky.
I think I'm also going to bet Western Kentucky. Kennesaw's just – I don't know how that happened. I didn't watch that Liberty game, so I don't know how that happened. But Kennesaw State is a terrible football team, First year, FCS, so, they're a terrible team. I'm also going to bet them right now. Let's see. Because I don't want the game to start while we're still recording, so I'm going to go bet them right now.
We got an hour, yeah.
Tulane against Charlotte.
No.
Georgia State and UConn.
I've been riding UConn a little bit, but I don't know. It's not here. Not here.
South Florida and Florida Atlantic.
I think Byron Brown is out for the season. That sucks for South Florida. There was some momentum there.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
It definitely was. San Diego State and Boise State. Boise State 23.5-point favorites.
No, but Boise should coast the rest of every game. The rest of the season could be like this for them in the regular season. Yeah. Be big favorites. Yeah. They're
Army and Air Force Commander-in-Chief's trophy. I think probably the first edition this year, unless Air Force has played Navy. Army 21.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Navy killed Air Force. You would think Army can do the same. I kind of wanted to look at Army team total. I think it's at like 31. But I don't know. I hate betting a team total. Even with how good Army is, betting a team total in a game like this, total's 42. So I don't know. Who's betting Air Force in this game, though, also?
0-7 against the spread. You'd have to be a maniac to do it.
Yeah.
Memphis -7 against UTSA.
Did you see the UTSA letdown or the
I did
blown lead last week? That's insane.
That was very gross.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything there.
All right, Northwestern and Purdue. Purdue is a 1.5-point dog.
You deserve whatever you get if you bet this game.
You couldn't pay me to watch this game.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me to watch this game. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Syracuse and Virginia Tech. Syracuse plus 3.5.
I kind of want to take Syracuse there. I'm a little bit surprised by that line. I think Virginia Tech maybe getting a benefit of some scores that have been misleading recently. And Syracuse last week, they got blown out by Pitt. We talk about the Pitt luck train that keeps going on. Syracuse looked really bad. McCord struggled, but Syracuse at home is better than Virginia Tech. Syracuse, too, played on Thursday. They have a few extra days rest. They're getting Gadsden back, their tight end. He left last week with injury. It looks like Vatek's running back might not play. So I definitely lean Syracuse here. I may bet them. Huge for my win total, but they're definitely the side for me.
Okay, Buffalo and Akron.
Akron
cashed last week. If you rode Akron, let's go.
I think I did, but I lost so much that I threw my phone and then I stayed up, watched LSU, and I was like, all right, I lost all my bets, except for Akron, apparently, and Notre Dame.
That's right.
And LSU just shit the bed. Oh, my God. It was the worst night ever. Me and my girlfriend got in a fight, too. It was a terrible day for me last Saturday. Terrible day. Oh, we're good. We're good.
Time to bounce back.
We're good. Yeah.
Maybe the strangest line, I don't know if you'd call it a strange line, but maybe the most suspicious line of the week is probably Illinois plus 3 against Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ranked underdog at home.
So let me get y'all's opinion on this. And, it's happened, I think, more in college than the NFL, but I do this thing where, I bet some way, try and fade the public. If I see a line that doesn't make any sense, I usually have been taking it. I've just been doing that for years. It feels like it's worked at such a lower rate this year than ever before. I mean, I'm trying to think of specific ones, but it feels like every single suspicious line I have lost this year. And it dates to and it goes on Sunday too. Where like normal me would take Minnesota here and not think twice about it. And now I'm in my own head that I'm losing.
NFL's been weird. NFL is usually different than college in that perspective, but yeah, the public's been winning big with NFL all year. I think too the college ones, like it depends. Like so last week BYU, right? Beat UCF. That was a game where look, UCF came out flat. I still think UCF was the right side, and BYU was just better. And you take the L and you move on. But sometimes you get screwed on these.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Where that line made no sense, and I just oh yeah, I'll take UCF. Yeah, so that's a good example.
Here's my case for Minnesota, and y'all can tell me if I'm crazy because we don't like to bet the bad teams here. I don't think Minnesota's a good team by any chance, but I do think Illinois is a little bit overvalued because the last 4 games we've seen Minnesota actually play pretty well. Like close loss to Michigan, they beat UCLA, they beat USC. They've played well. Also, if you just look at the market here and how this lines up, like Illinois was a 6-point home dog to Michigan, so we're saying on the road they're probably plus 11. Minnesota, they were plus 10.5 at Michigan. Like, so they're pretty even teams here, but some of those box scores have been a little bit fraudulent. Like Michigan, they look bad last week against Illinois, but they were -3 in turnovers, kind of stuff like that. Not to mention Minnesota is actually really good at producing havoc. Like they can get pressure in the backfield, and Illinois can't stop that. And Illinois struggled to defend the run. Oregon ran for 230 on them. Purdue ran for 240 on them. Penn State did the same thing. So. The Illinois resume too has massive holes. Go look at those ranked wins, man. There are some big time holes in that resume. So Minnesota should run all over them. Minnesota's physical enough to run all over them.
Their defense is good too.
Yeah.
I bet on Illinois one time this year, and it was the full game Purdue while y'all were on the first half.
Yeah, and
I'll never forgive them. Like I'll never bet on Illinois again. Like
I'd be careful. I'd be careful here too. The total is only 45.5. I don't like laying points with low totals. I ended up getting a -2, like -120. I would take a money line with Minnesota, but I do think Minnesota's the right side. The matchup makes sense. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Put that in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was doing a little research here. I've been informed that one of UGA's targeting suspensions has been overturned. I don't know which player it was. I don't know if it was Dan Jackson or if it was Janelle Aguero. I was trying to figure that out.
Oh, that's
Yeah, Arkansas +7 against Ole Miss. Arkansas at home. Ole Miss has been kind of disappointing this year, but I feel like this is a game where they should still take care of business.
Yeah, I don't really trust either of these teams right now. I don't know what you're getting from Arkansas.
I think Ole Miss is. I don't know. I think they're a little underrated. Like I don't think they're national championship contenders by any means, but they probably should have beat LSU. South Carolina is a good team, I think, and they beat the hell out of them. I know.
But then you look at last week.
So I think Oklahoma is a better team than they've let on. They finally get Jackson Arnold in there with a full week to prepare, and their defense is pretty good. So while, yes, I do agree Ole Miss, you can't do that at home. That's just pitiful stuff. But I also think that, that was a case where Oklahoma's better than people think they were that particular week, and Ole Miss isn't that bad. Like I actually don't think Arkansas is as good as a lot of people think they are. Like Taylor Green is Taylor Green that.
Am I crazy for taking it for liking an under here, possibly 53.5? I don't know. The game feels.
Ole Miss's defense is good, and Arkansas's defense is pretty good too. So I don't hate it.
That might be it. I don't know.
By the way, I cannot believe you fed me that absolute loser pick last week in Mississippi State. That was the worst pick of the week.
We're gonna blame Chase for that one.
Yeah, we'll blame that on Chase. Miami -21. Miami was my biggest play last week against Florida State. They barely covered, and the fact that this line is exactly the same, and Duke is hands down the luckiest team in America. I will not be playing this one.
Well, that's a great point though that you mentioned. This is the same line basically. We're a point off from Florida State and the Florida State game, and Florida State dominated Duke, so this should probably be 24. I just the Duke thing. The Duke luck thing is actually unbelievable and really starting to piss me off. So I put Miami in a teaser. I took Miami down to -14. I think Miami should cover this. Everyone's going to bet Duke because everyone sees the record. But I don't know. Well, you're one Cam Ward interception away though in this game from things getting dicey.
Penn State, Ohio State. I will be in the building. I do have Penn State. I'm going to be rocking with the home crowd.
Let's go.
I think I'd like Penn State even if I wasn't going, though, and I wasn't biased. I think Penn State's a great play here. Ohio State's offensive line has been pretty bad, and they're missing 2 starters, so it's about to get even worse. I think Penn State's going to beat them. Give me the Nittany Lions.
I think they're the
Under's
right
probably a
side.
smart play here, too.
I did the under at 47 just because I trust the defenses more. I think this game is physical. This game will be an under game. I'm very convinced. I want to take Penn State, but I don't. Who do you trust? You trust Ryan Day and Will Howard, or do you trust James Franklin and a backup quarterback? I don't. I can't.
Is it going to be a backup? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean,
it's questionable.
Well, it's Aller's questionable. He's not going to release anything until Saturday.
I agree with that last point. That like who the hell do you trust? Because they're both goobs. James Franklin was built to lose this game. He's going to win every other game and lose this game. And in a normal year, they go on to the Rose Bowl and they finish, 11-2 or whatever it is. And that's just Penn State through and through. That's who they've always been under, James Franklin. That's good enough to get you in the playoffs this year. But in that same breath, I mean, Ryan Day loves to piss down his pants, and I don't know who you say you trust more. I lean Ohio State because I don't think they're not that bad. I mean, that was an absolutely pathetic performance. Nebraska probably should have won that game. I mean, I took them last week. I thought that they were going to come out and flex their muscles a little bit. I think as the game went on, they let Will Howard finally decided to grow a set and start pushing the ball down the field. Given they got the best wide receiver room in the country, and they're throwing these guys bubble screens. Like, let them go downfield, play above the rim. These guys are freaks. I don't know what they're doing.
Though, the Ohio State trenches do not look as good as we thought.
They couldn't run the ball on Nebraska. I don't know what Penn State's going to do to them. I hope that it was one of those sleepy Nebraska's this. We got Penn State next week. They're certainly going to be more energized and focused than they were last week, I think. And also Will Howard grew up a Penn State fan and has that, hate in his heart. So I might be betting on the hate, but I might not bet it at all and just watch.
Yeah, I'm going under.
Lean in Ohio State.
Yeah, I still got Penn State. I'm going to be in the home crowd. Come on, man.
That's going to be sick, though. I didn't even really acknowledge that. That's going to be so fun.
Toledo and Eastern Michigan. A little action. Larsen, this feels like a game you would have.
Yeah, I don't think I have a MAC play this week. Not that I know of, but I've been sneaky good on the MAC on MAC this year. The social media won't tell you that, but it's true.
Stanford and NC State, weirdest ACC game probably ever on record.
NC State's a 10-point favorite. Oh my god,
yeah, it's gross. This is the grossest game of the afternoon.
See right there, old me is just hammering NC State because that does. I mean, I've watched enough NC State games to know, they suck. Stanford might be the worst team in football, but NC State sucks. Like
nothing there.
Vanderbilt and Auburn. Vanderbilt opened at like 5.5. They're down to a 7-point dog. I mean, the metrics would tell you Auburn should be like a 6-2 team, but Vandy keeps defying the odds and covering these spreads. So I don't know. I'm going to stay away because I'm not even going to be able to watch it.
Sneaky.
If I had to play, I'd probably take Vanderbilt just for the fun of it. But this feels like a spot where Auburn's probably going to come out and win by a few touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm going to be on Auburn here.
You are going to be on Auburn?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those lines, like, Vandy can't keep getting away with it. Like, they're not a very good football. I know what their record is, and it's a fun story. America's sweetheart, this, that. Poppy is, backyard football guy, but they can't keep this up. I mean, I refuse to believe that.
This feels like a rug pull coming, for sure.
Could be, yeah. Well, we saw Pavia, too. Pavia's been limping around for like 3 weeks now. Like, my man is banged up. He couldn't even rest. The one game you're supposed to rest in Ball State, they couldn't even do that because it was close the whole time. And Auburn's a tough place to play. Auburn's a tough place to play, though. And like you said, the resume is a bit misleading because they could definitely have a lot more wins. I don't know if I can take Auburn just because I don't like
They just give every game they play away.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
They covered last week.
Do what?
They covered last week.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more of do I
Yeah,
trust
but
Payton
they've
throwing
had
the ball? I
4
don't think.
games that they've just given away, literally given away.
Hand up,
I don't-
hand up. I didn't watch that game, but I bet it. So I don't know what happened. But they covered. They covered. That's all.
Well, that speaks more to Kentucky, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kentucky. What the hell's going on there, man?
Yeah. I don't know what to take in this game. I may not bet this. I really
The
hope
answer
Virginia
is
wins.
nothing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bet Auburn.
Old Dominion and App State.
I will go to my grave not knowing how Old Dominion under 4.5 wins does not hit. By the way, I don't know.
This over/under is 60.5, and it's a less than a touchdown spread. This is gonna be a fun game.
Yeah,
This is gonna be a
Tulsa
fun game.
and UAB.
I kind of want to take Tulsa only because there's just no reason UAB should be favored on anyone right now. I don't. Tulsa's on the list for me.
We got Indiana and Michigan State. I took Indiana at -7. They're at 7.5 right now. My deal with Indiana, or Michigan State at least, is if you let Michigan score 24 points on you, God knows what Indiana's going to do to you. Bit of a ratty line, but I'm going to go ahead and keep riding with the Hoosiers. Michigan State's been better of late, but I wasn't impressed with that Michigan game. I think Indiana still rolls them.
Me neither. I lost on both of these bets last week.
Yeah, here's the thing. We might get to Washington later. Washington, I thought Washington was sneaky. They were in that game. They played a lot better than you would think in that Indiana game last week. A few turnovers here and there. Michigan State, we're a 24-yard missed chip shot away from covering that game. So I don't want to overreact to Michigan State. Look, everyone's going to take Indiana. Indiana's probably a square side, and Indiana is probably the square side that wins because I just don't want to get in front of Cignetti again. I did it last week. It wasn't fun, so I don't know. And Indiana, who do they have next? Though they play Michigan after this too, so I don't know if you would even qualify that as a look-ahead spot.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a hangover spot. I mean, they got game day. That's
yeah. Teams have played Michigan and come back the next week and don't look great. I think at Michigan, look, they're a bad team, but they're physical and they'll bang you up a little bit. I wonder if Michigan State comes in a little flat.
All right, Texas Tech and Iowa State.
I like Iowa State.
I don't know.
Iowa State's a good football team.
I like them. I like everything about them.
They're a good football team, and Texas Tech is not. Now, I don't know if they're 2 touchdowns worse, but
it just feels like in any Big 12 game like this, especially these random afternoon Big 12 games, the games are always close. I took Baylor +7 against Texas Tech strictly on that principle alone, and Baylor won outright. It just feels weird.
That's fair.
UCLA and Nebraska.
It's a weird game too.
You would think Nebraska gets off the mat here and comes back. UCLA traveling across. I don't know. I don't have any faith in UCLA.
They should have won that game.
And Marshall.
The total's 40, by the way, in this game. I mean, that's
gross.
Yeah.
I won't even turn that on.
ULM and Marshall.
No.
Arizona and UCF.
UCF, you're on the list, buddy. No more UCF for me this season.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee and UTEP.
Yeah.
Kansas State and Houston.
Houston, nobody talks about it. Houston beat Utah last week.
Yeah.
Which is just insane to think about, but that probably says more about Utah than Houston. I don't know. Is this the part where you just trash Avery Johnson on the weekly pod? Jake, this is just Avery Johnson hates segment. I don't know.
Yeah, you ruined my Heisman future. UNC and Florida State.
I mean, Florida State's one win was that Cal game where Cal should have won. So you would just think that Florida State should lose every game.
I've faded Florida State so much this year. I feel like I've made all the money that I'm going to make on them. So it's
I'd rather not touch North Carolina here, but
God, they suck, man.
Both of these teams are so bad.
Yeah. Georgia, Florida. I am going to take the under in this game. I'm also going to take Florida in the first half. I feel like they'll give Georgia 2 quarters. I feel like it'll be 10-3 at half, and then 27-13 final.
That feels very accurate. Yeah,
I am also on Florida first half. I was going to bet the exact same thing. I'm going to bet Florida first half. I'll pull it up. I've got the receipts on our other on Sports ATL Fox local. Florida. So I think this game is going to go pretty similar to the Clemson game. I don't know what that total was. I think I had the under. I think I hit the trifecta. So first half Florida, full game Georgia, and the under is what I'm going to go all three of these. So, I mean, I think Lagway is actually pretty damn good. I don't think that he's going to get the best of Kirby Smart, but I think that, like you said, Florida's going to come out juiced and Carson Beck sucks. I mean, let's just call space big.
Oregon and Michigan. I'm actually on Oregon here. It's a bit of a square pick, but Michigan sucks. They're bad.
Yeah, who in the world is taking Michigan, betting Michigan this week? You may not find anybody.
I think Oregon's defense is really going to shut them down. Give me the Ducks.
Low total here too.
Yeah, I think this could also be an under. It's kind of I don't like unders in like the 40s. It's just a bad spot to me.
But the Oregon offense is clicking. I mean, they are locked in. All those questions we had beginning of the season are gone.
Yeah. They're playing their best football right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they dominated. They played with their food a little bit in the second half, but that game was never, or that cover last week was never in question.
Yeah, that was a good spot for them.
All right, Coastal and Troy.
Ooh.
R.I.P. Grayson McCall.
Yep.
Retiring. It was a good run. Good run, buddy.
Yeah, he got the shit knocked out of him. So
He did.
I feel bad for him, man. That was a tough hit. Navy and Rice. Navy is a 10.5-point favorite. This is probably a spot where the public is going to really be heavy on Navy, and I can see this being a rug pull.
Yeah, they are. And this, I think it's dropped from 13 to 10.5 now. So
Oof.
Good luck betting Rice, who just fired their coach, by the way. So if you subscribe to the new coach theory,
just like ECU, even though they weren't an underdog.
Yes.
All right. Fuck the service. We thank you for your service. You're bad at football. All right, I'm on Rice. I'm back on the wagon. I've got off of the wagon for a while, but I love that. Fired coach, love that. I'm in.
Wyoming and New Mexico. Maybe the actual worst game of the week, Mississippi State and UMass.
How are they only 18-point favorites?
I don't know, but I'm not betting Mississippi.
Crazy,
State.
right?
That's crazy.
In a total that is basically 59.5. So they're saying they think UMass will score.
UMass was struggling with Wagner last week.
It's crazy.
What the hell?
I want to go see. Actually, I'm going to go look at UMass team total.
Mississippi State's defense is actually horrible. Like, there's no doubt about that. But they can't score points. Like, maybe the over is the play here because their defense might actually be, JV. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. They don't tackle. They don't even look like they're trying.
20.5 for UMass if we think they can get 3 touchdowns.
Arizona State and Oklahoma State.
What a weird game, man. Oklahoma State, just such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Hawaii and Fresno. Louisville and Clemson. Clemson's probably the right side here, but I'm staying away from that one.
I'm going to be on Louisville.
Okay.
I think that what's selling me right now is this total is 63. That tells me that they think. I mean, Clemson's defense is pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. And they think Louisville is going to be able to score at will, pretty much at will. That's a sketchy line. That's a really sketchy line. I'm going to eat it.
All right, Wisconsin and go ahead.
I was going to say I'm feeling Clemson just because I think Clemson's absolutely on a roll. Clemson is at home. I believe they're off of a bye. Yeah. We just saw this is the second straight road game for Louisville. I'm just not sold on Louisville. Like, I've never seen a team that really should have lost 27-7 to Boston College last week and then come back and wins the game, which was a crazy game. But Clemson, third in the nation in producing defensive havoc. They should be all over the backfield there for Louisville. It's 10.5, which obviously, I think they would make you want to lean to Louisville. I'm going small.
It's a night game. It's a night
game at Death Valley. It's
a big deal. This game between those. I've got some Clemson friends, and all of his friend group is going to this game. So I'm pretty sure it's a pretty big deal. I'm making a case for Clemson, but I'm still going to bet Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wisconsin and Iowa.
Wisconsin is not very good, and I'm very upset about how they went about not covering that game last week because they threw pick six. So good luck facing Iowa. I don't know.
Yeah.
40.5, probably an under.
All right, Texas A&M and South Carolina. I think South Carolina is probably a sharp play here. Emotional win for Texas A&M last week. Chase is lucky he's not on here after all the hell he gave me for betting Arkansas against LSU.
Well, LSU did go out and destroy Arkansas.
Yeah, then they shit the bed against A&M. But I think South Carolina is probably a sharp play here. LSU was just completely unprepared for the read option. I don't know why they wouldn't expect Marcel Reed to come in at some point. The read option's been around for 25 years at this point. I don't know why they just weren't prepared for it whatsoever. South Carolina has a nasty defense, so I think they can keep this close. I would look to play it under here, but I'm just going to avoid this one.
Yeah, I'm on South Carolina. I'm on South Carolina money line as well. I bet this earlier in the week. I got it at 3, and I got a decent juice on the money line. Texas A&M is not a very good football team. That's not to say LSU is a good football team. I'm trying to say all this stuff. I said it earlier in the week way better. I'm trying to say all this stuff in criticism about A&M without being like, oh, I'm a sourpuss. My team lost. But A&M, LSU, whose defense is at this point in the season comparable to South Carolina's. In fact, South Carolina's is still better, I would say. And they made Texas A&M's offense look absolutely – I mean, they had no business being on the same field together. If they stuck with Connor Wegman, that was going to be a complete blowout of the game. And they didn't. And that's completely on LSU's DC's fault. He's the highest paid defensive coordinator in football. You would think under your job criteria it's to prepare for the fucking guy who started 3 games. So I think, if LSU comes in with an actual game plan, if they go to Marcel Reed, they still win that game. Garrett Nussmeier turned into Brett Favre, the worst version of Brett Favre in the second half. And South Carolina is a damn good football team. Took LSU to the brink, took Bama to the brink. They're itching for one of these big program wins. And like Alabama A&M neutral field, I think Bama's still favored. LSU A&M play again on a neutral field. I think LSU's favored. And South Carolina's 2.5-point dog. It's just sharp play South Carolina. I think they win outright. I'm gonna be all over the money line too.
I mean, yeah. They are the sharp side. The question, and at home, primetime game, off of a bye.
Yeah.
Huge spot for Carolina. The only question, I have questions for both teams. Who is for sure starting a quarterback for A&M, because Reed is obviously better, but South Carolina has actually done pretty well against dual threat quarterbacks. Hawkins for Oklahoma was completely taken out of the game. They kept Milroe in check, I think, for large portions of that game. Mm-hmm. And then the weakness is their secondary. That would lean you to start Wegman probably, but I don't feel comfortable with Wegman in there at all. I don't.
Well, LSU doesn't have a very good secondary at all, and they showed if you get a little creative, you apply a little bit of pressure, and Wegman is a mess. And they were at home. Now Wegman's got to go to face a better pass rush on the road. Columbia is itching. They need a bit. They are banging on the door of a big program win.
So are you confident though in South Carolina scoring points in this game?
I don't think A&M's defense is as good as everybody let on. I think a lot of those second half mistakes against LSU were self-inflicted. Garrett Nussmeier just being an absolute moron. First year starter type of shit. LSU ran the ball pretty much at will. And that's what South Carolina's bread and butter is. I think South Carolina wins this game, and honestly, it should be South Carolina -3, in my opinion.
Well, you look at Ole Miss has a great D-line, and South Carolina scored 3 points. They scored 25 against Bama, but Bama gave them – Milroe had some bad mistakes in that one that gave them some points. They scored 35 against Oklahoma. There was a pick six and a scoop and score. I just wonder, the total being, 44.5?
Yeah.
Makes total sense. I don't know who I'm going to lean here. Carolina's the right side. We've talked about it for a while, but it's a stay away from me right now.
Washington, I'm going to take Washington +3 at home against USC. Just a gut play. I don't trust USC. I think they might have quit. I got Washington at 3, which I like the number a lot more than 2.5. So give me the Huskies, home dog.
Both of these teams have very explainable losses. You could go through each loss on these teams and make a case for why they could have won. Just strange game. Washington's probably the right side. Yeah, I would not feel comfortable betting USC.
No, definitely not. Georgia Southern and South Alabama. Georgia Southern a 6.5-point dog.
I can't get Georgia Southern right this year, so I'm going to stay away.
Kentucky and Tennessee. I have Tennessee in this game. Kentucky's broken. That's my main rationale for that. Just frankly haven't been very good.
Yeah.
Tennessee looking for a bounce back spot. I think they'll try to embarrass Kentucky at home. Let me go ahead and get Tennessee on this.
I'm also going to be on Tennessee.
Okay.
TCU and Baylor.
I do not know. TCU had a crazy win last week. I think Baylor's actually playing kind of well right now. Baylor might be saving Aranda's job, which I don't know if that's good or bad for them, but they're playing well right now.
Pitt and SMU. This may be the rat line of the week, actually. Undefeated Pitt, 7.5-point dogs.
Oh, my God. I'm hammering the ponies this week. Dude.
All right.
Well, I did last week, and they shit down their legs. So
yes, they did.
That is not going to happen again.
This is different. I agree. This is different. Pitt sucks. I mean, they don't suck. They're undefeated. But how they are winning games, this is Disney stuff. This is stuff that doesn't happen.
Yes.
SMU is actually a good football team. I wouldn't be mad if SMU came out of the ACC at all. SMU, this is the quintessential. That doesn't make sense. I'm taking it. But if you watch these games, I think it does make a little bit of sense.
I'm so tired of getting on Twitter and seeing these college football accounts. They're like, everyone's disrespecting Pitt, 7-0, this and that. I'm like, hey man, watch the games. They are not 7-0 good. It's fraud win after fraud win. And to answer the point of comparing this week to last week, Duke, to their credit, the one thing they do well, they're top 10 in the country in producing havoc. That's why they keep forcing a lot of turnovers. Pitt does not grade out well in that category. 76 nationally. Basically, SMU is going to have way more time to work on offense. There will not be that kind of pressure. And -6 in turnovers. I mean, that is generational stuff. SMU still outgained them. Duke had the ball the whole game because of the turnovers. SMU still outgained them. SMU's far better than that. Pitt is not as good as their record shows. Vegas is telling you that by SMU being favored. I'm very close to taking SMU. Yeah, I'll say that.
All right, let's wrap it up with Colorado State, Nevada.
Colorado State has not lost in conference yet. They're kind of
crazy
making a run to ruin the Boise UNLV rematch in the championship. But that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, I got 6 picks this week. I'm feeling pretty good.
I was going to keep it light, and I end up with fucking 15.
Just wait till we add Akron.
Yeah, let me know. I'll add it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for joining.